Yay. Hi, Tressa. It's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I'm excited.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Tressa. I am a certified positive reinforcement dog trainer, and I am a licensed family pause parent educator, which means I work with expectant families and families with children that are working on creating harmony within their households with both dogs and children. So using all force-free methods, meaning we don't rely on anything that involves pain or fear. That's how we kind of work with our dogs to get them comfortable around kids and work on giving kiddos the skills they need to stay safe and be comfortable around dogs.
That's so awesome. Okay, so why would somebody do that?
Well, a lot of times our dogs are our first kids. They're kind of our tester children, and they are really a part of our family. And a lot of times what we want when we have children is to see this like loving relationship develop between our kids and our children. But not all dogs are comfortable with all the things that come with children and babies. It can be really challenging for a dog to learn to share space with this new creature that makes totally unpredictable sounds and moves in a different way from anyone they've ever dealt with before. So people come to me for kind of being proactive, like, hey, we're expecting a little one. What can we expect from our dog? How can we set them up for success? So that's awesome. I love seeing that because when you start working on it way ahead of time, you're going to just really set a foundation for success for everyone. So that's a great way to start out. Also, people tend to come to me when they didn't occur to them, which is totally normal because they love their dog and their dog is great with them and they're really excited about this baby that they love as well. And they just expect everything to be fine. And maybe it's just not as fine as they expected. Maybe the dog is uncomfortable with some of the noises the baby might make or the way it moves, or sometimes the dog is fine with a baby when they're just sort of an infant that doesn't do much. They just sort of sit there, and then as mobility increases, the dog's like, whoa, this thing is moving, it's coming into my space, and they're having a difficulty with that. So a lot of times people will come to me for problem solving when things are getting a little trickier. And sometimes as well, if we already have children and we want to bring a dog in. So that can be a little bit different than the other way around, but trying to find a dog that's going to be a good fit for your family. And then like, what foundational skills is that dog going to need to succeed in a family environment? And so those are some of the primary things people come to me for, as well as, caretakers and grandparents. That's like kind of an area that people don't think of as often, but if grandma and grandpa are going to be a big part of your child's life and they have a dog that lives with them, that dog's going to need some skills as well. Those people are going to need some skills. So we're sort of, one of the things that Family Paws talks about a lot is creating dog-aware generations. So everybody in the family is working actively on their observation skills and just being aware of how dogs are feeling, what they're communicating with us, and how we can make them comfortable and succeed.
Okay, that's just so beautiful. I love that. Because I'm even with my bringing baby home classes, it's like the same thing. It's like, how do we change generations of families to know how to build in more positives and handle conflict and set people up for success through generations? So I love that.
Yes, it's
Awesome.
it's so cool to be able to give parents these skills because from a very young age you can start talking it through with your kid. And children pick this stuff up so quickly, and you're basically giving them another language. You're teaching them how to speak dog, and that's not only going to help them succeed with the dogs that they live with and that they share space with regularly, but just like the dogs they're going to encounter in the world. Your kids are going to go have play dates, and maybe not around COVID, but at some point they're going to go have play dates. They're going to go to the park and see cute dogs, and knowing how to navigate that and when it's safe to approach and how to invite dogs to interact with us and when they're saying no thank you. I mean, those are skills that will keep your kids safe for their entire life.
That's awesome. And the observation that's required is something that's super useful in parenting also. It's a
Yeah,
transferable skill.
totally. There's so many parallels. That's what's so much fun about working with dogs and kids is that like they're very different, but they're very the same.
Yeah, totally. Any other challenges that people are facing?
I mean, though, having a new baby is such a challenging time that it can be really hard when you're bringing home this amazing and incredibly fragile being, and it's taking all of your energy, and you're hit with a curveball. So that's a big challenge, is when that preparation maybe didn't happen, because again, sometimes we just think everything's going to be fine and it's not. That can be really hard, and it can be scary, especially when you're a new parent and you're dealing with a lot of emotional changes and hormones and lack of sleep. So folding people in your community into this kind of stuff, and figuring out who you can rely on to help out, and kind of having a plan for who's going to be involved in your dog's care while you're sort of in this baby cocoon, that can be really important. Like I said, getting other caregivers involved, getting other family members involved. I think that's really key to dealing with that kind of challenge of just like, even a dog that's not having a difficulty with the baby's presence might be having a difficulty with the change in routine, and the change in their relationship with the humans in their life, because they're used to a certain relationship, and that's different now. It's not a bad thing. It's going to be a lot of fun for everybody as it develops and as it grows, but just huge change. I mean, so that's one of the reasons why, like, even something as simple as like mixing up your dog's meal times before the baby comes can help a little bit. Some of those dogs are so punctual, they're like, what's going on? But like, just getting them comfortable with a little flexibility in the routine is going to go a long way, and just like coping with those huge life changes that are coming.
Totally. Any other tips or strategies that would get families started?
Yeah, I mean, some of the basic skills that are really helpful to have is as simple as teaching your dog to be comfortable with a little bit of separation. So we talk a lot in the Family Pause materials about success stations. And a success station is a space in which your dog has no choice but to succeed, right? So they are not going to get themselves in a situation where they're uncomfortable or where they're too excited and now there's trampling involved. They are just going to be successful. So that might look like a crate, that might look like an X pen, a play pen for the baby gates up in the room, all these different like forms of management. Some dogs have no concept of what it means to like hang out on the other side of a gate. So that might be really weird for them. And we don't want to wait until that first time when you're like, okay, let's try tummy time. And also I'm going to throw a gate up and now my dog's on the other side. And they're like, what is happening? We want to play games with relaxing on the other side of the gate while mom and dad are over here, or hanging out in your crate with the Kong while something else is happening over here. And getting just comfortable with these changes, so that when it's needed, you're able to ask your dog to do that behavior, to go relax with just a little bit of separation, and you're not worried about it being this like life-changing thing for them because they've rehearsed it many times. So success stations are huge. I mean, especially because you cannot actively supervise all the time. You're going to have to use the restroom. You're going to have to, make a snack for yourself, or whatever these simple things are going to be that involve you walking away. And now we're not providing full awake adult supervision. So what can we put in place that's going to be easy peasy for everybody? Success stations. That's a huge one. I would also say, similar but a little different, is being able to send your dog to a place or a station, or send them to their bed, a mat, whatever. That's a really great way. If they have a solid behavior for like relaxing on their bed while other things are happening, then they can be kind of like involved but separate. So we really don't want to get to a place where we're so worried about our dog's behavior that we just lock them in the bedroom or put them outside, because babies are changing and developing, and their new skills are popping up every moment of every day. And if our dogs are sort of kind of sidelined, they have no idea. Like, they're going to come in and be like, wait, I'm sorry, what? It rolls over now? I had no idea this was possible. But if they're kind of involved, at least to some degree, with some safety and some separation, but they're able to see what this crazy new being can do and what it's learning, then they're going to be more familiar with those changes as they keep occurring. And I think as both dog owners and parents, we have to have some flexibility that management is going to change at every single stage. So we're constantly, again, it's, building that awareness so that it's just like easy for you. Oh, I see we're a little bit weird about, now prolonged eye contact is happening. That's something we can do a little counter conditioning for. Or, oh, I noticed that the crawling is sort of making, my dog a little uncomfortable. Let's work through that. So you're just, everything that comes towards you, it's not a panic, it's not a concern. You're expanding your awareness about what your dog's comfortable with and what they're not, and how you can start helping them build that ease around all these different developmental stages. So
awesome.
those are some ideas.
I love it.
Yeah.
So how much are you doing in person versus virtually right now?
I'm doing quite a mix. I do a lot of, so I start any new client that wants to work with me, I start with a consultation, and you have the option of doing that virtually or in person. And usually a consultation is mostly just talking. So for new parents that, are wanting to hang out in the house and we want whatever, just COVID stuff, a lot of people are choosing virtual for that because it's just us sitting down like you and I are now and kind of going through the dog's history and what we know about them and what we think might be challenging and what we need to work on. So I usually do those virtually. Some people want an in-person, especially if there's a specific issue that they want me to kind of see. Although video is also great. If there's like something going on, I can always be like, send me a video and I can kind of see what's going on. And then when we move into training sessions, if there are, so you kind of get the consultation, you get a plan, here's what we need to work on, here's what we're seeing, here's where we want to go, what our goals are. And then people can either choose to take that information and just work on it themselves, or if they want that extra support, we do some training. I can do that virtually. Most people, if they're local, they want to do it in person just because it's a little bit easier. But it's totally doable virtual too. And it kind of pushes you to work with your dog more, because again, I'm not here to teach your dog stuff. I'm here to teach you stuff to teach your dog. Because if I can teach you how to teach your dog stuff, then you don't need me, and you can take those skills and you can apply them to all sorts of things that come up in the future. So you don't need, me to tell you how to teach your dog to sit and how to teach your dog to lay down. You need to teach me to teach you how to teach your dog new things. So kind of a mix. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of the way I work with parents too.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are you located?
I'm located in the Sacramento area. I'm like in Rosemont area, but I pretty much cruise all around Sacramento. And sometimes I'll go a little further for, out of the county if someone really wants an extra set of eyes for a little travel fee. And like I said, virtual stuff is for anyone. Which has been nice. I think COVID has kind of like opened our eyes to like how we can work with more people, because we don't need them to be in our living room. We can just give them, I just talked to someone in Michigan earlier this morning, and who has a 1-year-old that's, walking, and all of a sudden the dog's not chill. The dog was chill, not chill anymore.
That makes sense. Okay. So how can people find more information about you? How can they find you?
I have a website, pathandpaw.com. So you can find kind of all my services information there, a little bio, some information about my pets. They're very cute. I also offer online services through Dogly, which is this really cool online platform. They've created a whole community of advocates. So it's really awesome. It's basically like, everyone's looking for help online, and whether you find good feedback or bad feedback is sort of a coin toss. So the Dogly community is a place where they've curated training advocates, wellness advocates, and nutrition, all sorts of different fields, but they're all people who are certified and have been kind of vetted, where you can join their communities, and they'll post content about their specific niche. So I have a community for people who are trying to successfully integrate dogs and children into their home. And we're starting to do virtual support groups too. So in March, my first free virtual support group will kick off. And that's a place for anyone who has dogs and children that they're trying to work with, whether you're expecting, you're a parent, or you're a grandparent or caregiver. That's a place for people to come together and kind of share, as well as get tips and tricks and resources from me. So I'm really excited about that new feature to kind of connect people in COVID times and get to offer more to people who need some help.
And that's with Dogly?
Yeah, dogly.com is the website. And they, like I said, amazing resources. If your dog is dealing with itchy skin and you're wondering how you can holistically help them out, you can find a wellness person. If your dog is dealing with separation anxiety, you can find a trainer. If your dog is, got kiddo stuff going on, that's where I come into play. So pretty much anything that you have going on with your animal, you can find someone who is really working on that area, and you can get support through support groups, or through, you can chat with people one-on-one. or you can just go through their content and read like all these kind of topical specific or videos on different topics. So just like a wealth of resources at Dogly. I would definitely recommend people check it out.
I'm gonna have to totally check that out. I wish
Yeah.
I knew about that earlier.
Yeah. The senior dog stuff too. I'm sure there's a lot of great tips for, like aging dogs, and like there's some really cool people
Yeah.
that do like home cooking and like will give you recipes for stuff that'll like help your dogs as they get older, and all sorts of really cool tidbits.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been great chatting.
Yeah, this is really fun. All right. Thanks.